Season 5, Episode 10, Take 1. What is good, everybody? My name is Jake, and welcome back to the One Take series, where we get one chance to reflect on the day, no second chances, no third chances, one take and one take only. Today was awful. Today was the worst day that I've had for this season so far. It's a mix of just stuff that I couldn't control and a mix of stuff that I can control. That ultimately led to my demise today. So, yeah. So just like a little bit of backstory for those of you that are looking at the board right now. This is pretty much what my life, this is why I'm unhappy especially, is because this is exactly what my life used to look like the previous semesters when I didn't have my shit together. It was good sleep, focus on academics, and everything else just falls by the wayside. And the worst part is, I'm not even proud of what I did in the academic section. I'm really not. Which means the only thing that I did correctly today was get 9 hours of sleep. Well, that's great. Okay, and it is good because I came off of like a bad night of sleep, but it doesn't freaking matter because nothing else got done. Nothing else got done, bro. Oh my gosh. It was just a bad day. It was just a bad day. Just all around. Okay. So, first of all, I wake up in the morning. Okay. I wake up 2 hours earlier than I need to and I waste the whole morning. I don't know what is wrong with me. So let's just start here. I promise I still will make a vow. I'm trying to think of the math. I want by episode 16 for this debt counter to be gone. However, let's be honest, okay? No, it did not happen. No, it did not. And that is completely on me. You know what is also completely on me? The fact that I didn't work out in the morning either. I don't know what happened with these. I did wake up. I woke up at the appropriate time, and then I was scrolling for too often, and then afterwards, I just figured it was time to get up and make breakfast for me and my roommate before we left. So those got skipped, okay? Internship, okay, nothing has happened, right? Okay, that wasn't much of a surprise. I wasn't getting to that today, and I kind of knew that this was going to be a busy day. Okay, research, haven't looked at the paper more ever since sending out the emails, which is crucial for me, and I definitely need to get on that. And I do plan on doing that tomorrow. That is my main primary emphasis tomorrow, regardless of what is happening. We are making sure that we know that paper front to back, and we are knowing that maybe not front to back, but that we know it well enough to know what we're talking about, and then also that we know his other works, so that way we're ready for that interview, right? We're ready to crush that. That's my goal, okay? In terms of the rest of it, no, I did not work today. Okay, I plan on making that up on the weekend, and therefore, no, I did not watch Big Brother. I plan on watching that on the weekend, okay? Music, obviously, no time for music today. And so, one take is right now, and that's pretty much where we're at. So just to tell you a little bit of context, because it's very easy to not see the day that I've had. Just the amount of BS that has happened in my day. It's easy to not see all that and just look at the board and go, Jake, what the fuck happened? It is very easy. It is very easy. And I'll tell you what, like I said, it is a mix of stuff that I was able to control and a mix of stuff that I was not able to control. Okay? Let's start off with what I am not able to control, because not only is it easier, but then we can incorporate the learning opportunities more towards the end. What I was not able to control, and what I just really don't appreciate whatsoever, were just a lot of things. I feel like there are a lot of people in like teaching that I have this semester especially that are just so impatient when it comes to trying to teach people. It bothers me so much. I went to office hours first for a class after my 11 a.m., right? And then I was trying to ask questions, and I would get cut off in the questions midway through. It's like I'm trying to learn a question. I'm trying to learn, right? Okay, and then other things were like I had another TA, my first lab, right? I had a lab TA. And so pretty much it was a thing where they were just like, not only did they not make sense, but they did stuff that wasn't actually directly in the manual, or things that the manual didn't say to directly do. They told them, like, there was like a part where we didn't have to plug an LED into a function generator, but he said to plug it in when the instructions literally just said plug it into a USB-C. Okay, and my lab partner and I, we were like, we were going to, and then you told us to do the function generator, and he's like, well, ignore that, do the whatever. Like, why are you going against that? Okay, so that's the first thing, is just like bad teaching styles. And on that, okay, because this is really where it got to me. Okay, I'm not gonna name drop the class, right? I mean, I technically could, because it's not major specific, but it low-key kind of is, okay? But we're just going to call it, for the sake of explaining it. Yeah, well, we'll say it. The 1 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Okay, this one. This one. If I thought that one class was not this class, but the other one. If I thought the other one was an unplanned pregnancy, I owe that an apology, because this one is pissing me the fuck off right now. I can't even lie, bro. I can't even. Okay? So if you remember this class, this is the same class where I was talking about how I was basically blindsided by the quiz, okay? That's that class, right? So the thing is that, okay, I thought that was going to be a learning opportunity. I thought, okay, well, you know what? That's on me. I just got to look at the notes next time. I got to come into class prepared, and I got to come into class alert, know what we're talking about, right? It's just a good learning opportunity, okay? And also the fact that I can retake the quiz. So even if I didn't do well that time, I'm still going to have a window this Friday. Had to schedule it outside of office hours and a little bit later into the day, but it is what it is. I thought that I was going to actually be able to control my own destiny, and I was a fool for that. Because what ended up happening is that he didn't post notes before class, and the entire lecture was just a whole shit show for me, okay? He didn't post notes before class or during class, even after the knowledge that people told him that we didn't have notes. People were telling him we didn't have notes, and yet he didn't post it, okay? Not only that, he was blocking my view of the board the entire time, so I had a hard time actually getting notes down, okay? He was super soft-spoken, he was quiet, so I couldn't hear what he was saying, and he wasn't able to articulate full sentences on what he mean. He skipped up all the important stuff he went through it in 5 seconds, and then spent the rest of the time just talking about random stuff, okay? And just the worst possible, okay. Oh my gosh, words just can't express. I'm trying my hardest to stay calm right now, okay? One of the worst things that I've seen a professor do, okay, we're midway taking through the quiz, which, by the way, so for the quiz itself, okay, I ended up scoring a 30%. Thankfully, I believe I can retake that one as well. And if I can, I fully plan on retaking it, okay? So the thing is that we were given a bunch of things, right? We were talking about just general, complex terms or whatever, that's an actual thing, basically imaginary numbers, and just a bunch of theory and stuff, okay? He literally on the board, I kid you not, he asks us to compute this. What the fuck is this? What is this? I'm sorry, what is this? I to the I power. For anyone who doesn't know, I is an imaginary number. It's the square root of -1, which does not exist. You are seriously asking me to compute and plot on a graph the square root of -1 to the square root of -1 when you have not told us a single thing about I to the I power. Really? I mean, seriously. And the fact that you didn't put notes up beforehand, you see why I'm so aggravated about that? Because not only did I not know what was going on during class, but I had no way of knowing what was going to happen before class because he didn't put up the notes. So, needless to say, he asks us to compute this, okay, along with this. I believe, ironically enough, this is the only step that I got a little bit right, okay, and then the rest of it was asking something about this, and then something about this. Okay, I gotta fill it in because, right, he was asking for this, and then he was asking for another thing. He was asking for this. First of all, as if there's a difference between these two. But then secondly, the fact that these two equations, this is what I'm talking about. He spends like 40 minutes talking about unnecessary stuff, and then he spends 5 seconds on these. And if he spent any longer, well, I'm sorry, it's because he blocked the board the whole time. Okay? So I didn't know that. And then he said to plot this. How do you plot that? How do you even begin to plot that? So, I mean, again, I will take accountability truly when I believe I've done something wrong. That is not my fault. Material that isn't covered in class, material that I'm not allowed to see beforehand, and material that I literally, you expect me to understand this, that you don't even cover, and you don't even give me a chance to look over in the span of 40 minutes. You expect me to be an expert on it. He was saying before the class even started that it was one of the toughest concepts in that class. And boy, do I really hope so, first of all. And second, why are we starting with that then? Why aren't we doing that towards maybe the end of the semester when we actually have a grip on the class? Okay? So, needless to say, that just put me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. As soon as that happened, I mean, like, the rest of the day was just, anything bad that happened after that was just salt in the wound, right? So, just to recap for that class, okay? 4 out of 10 first quiz, 3 out of 10 second quiz. I literally have a 35% in the class right now. Thankfully, like I said, I can retake, okay? After I retake, I plan on this being at the bare minimum 8 out of 10, probably 9 out of 10, or hopefully a 10 out of 10, right? That's what I'm hoping. After this, I mean, okay, what he did partway through, I believe, I'm just gonna hope that it's what happened. Partway through the quiz, he deleted last week's notes. Okay, that pissed me off to another degree, because why on earth would you go and delete the notes that I'm literally going to be using to study for midterms and stuff like that? And so I was confused, okay? I think what he ended up doing is a few hours later, he posted the new thing. And so before I jump to any conclusions, I am going to take a look at that new file that he uploaded just to make sure that it's actually something that it's not like he completely deleted the whole file. That's just what I'm hoping though. I'm hoping that he didn't delete it because I need to study for that. I mean, simply put, I have like the homework and stuff, and thankfully I can reference that, but I need to study for that, okay? And then needless to say, afterwards, I believe I can also retake this quiz, right? And after I retake this one, after I take a good hard look, because I don't know what the fuck was going on here, I plan on getting this up pretty high as well. We'll say like an 8 out of 10 just to prepare for the worst. But again, I plan on getting a 10 out of 10 for both of these, and improving my grade overall so that way I can log in. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know. Literally the only other thing that I can think of that I could possibly try doing is taking a look at the syllabus and then literally just like whatever the name of the topic we're doing, just literally look it up and try to make something of that, because I mean there really is no other way. If I can't prime for the class, if I can't understand what's going on in class, then I mean like I don't know, but we're gonna find out, okay? We're gonna find out, because that's the theme of this, okay? We mentioned it on episode 3, and we are going to keep mentioning it, okay? Regardless of what happens, we have to keep pushing forward. That is the main goal. Every time that I have a bad day, I will reiterate that statement just so I can lock it in my brain, lock it in your brain, lock it in whoever needs to hear its brain, that we need to keep moving. Okay, we keep moving past the bad stuff, regardless of how bad the rest of the day gets. Speaking of which, the class afterwards thankfully wasn't too bad, okay? Then the class, or not the class after that, but the little thing, I guess the little weird time period in between that class, the class after the 1 p.m., and then in between another office hour that I wanted to attend, was basically just like, I was going to do like a little bit of work, but then I ended up like texting with someone, right? And so naturally I just didn't get anything done with that. And then so then office hours, thankfully I was able to get some help, right? I was able to get some help on some of the problems that I needed, right? And so I know that that one is due the next class period tomorrow. And so I fully plan on getting that done during the morning, and I know that I am going to be able to do that. So I plan on doing that, and at least I was able to get guidance, okay? And then we get to the lab. The lab, which is an evening lab. It's an evening lab. And so basically, it was just long. It was long, and it was just longer than I was expecting. That's really what it is. I was expecting it to be, based on someone's description of it, an hour and 45-minute lab, and it took 2 hours and 20 minutes, which like never happens for this type of lab. Every other time I've had this type of lab, and like the past and in past semesters, it's been like 1 hour 30, 1 hour, maybe 2 hours max most of the time. The fact that we went to 2 hours and 29 on basically the first in-person lab of the semester, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not. At least my lab partner is based, but then the TA is another beast to consider into the equation, mainly just because with the TA, he's the type of TA that, well, first of all, he rushes you on things, which I don't appreciate. It's like, I want to figure this out for myself. Like, give me and allow me the time so that way I can actually focus and try and work out problems and solutions by my own, right? By my own hands. But he wasn't doing that, right? We needed to go outside, and he was like, all right, we do this, and this. All right, let's go outside. We're gonna do this. Okay, let's go inside. It's like, give me time. Give me a second to observe my surroundings. I'm curious. I have an engineering brain. I want to process information. Let me process the information, please. So, I mean, that was annoying as well. But then also it was a thing where anytime you asked him a question, okay, some people love these kinds of TAs. Me personally, I'm not a fan. When you ask a TA a question, and then what ends up happening is that they do the whole thing for you. They either tell the whole class, so it's like, hey, how do you do this, this, and this? Okay, so everybody, to do this, it's like, I did not need you to announce it to everybody that I am a certified dumbass. All I needed you to do was just tell me what to do, right? And then also, or just even lead me in the right direction, one of those, right? But then, he's the type of TA that also does things for you, and I have a problem with that, right? Like I said, I like to do things by my own, like, not will, but like my own action, you know? Like, I don't want you to ask you a question and then you just do the whole part for me, because then I'm not gonna understand what I'm doing, right? Like, if I'm working with equipment and I want to ask, like, how do I do this, this, and this on like an oscilloscope, for example, you go and do it for me. It's like, well, that's great, but it's that lesson. It's that lesson that everybody learns from a super young age. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Right now, you're giving me a fish, and I'll gladly accept the fish, but the problem with that is that when it's time for me to go out into the world and throw my fishing line into the ocean, I'm not going to catch anything because I don't know how to fish, right? So that's really the problem with it, okay? And so it's the fact that that was just long, right? And in the end, it's just like, for me personally, when things get on my nerves or when I am having a bad day, because here's the thing, right? Most guys, I feel like, at least from like what I've seen, right? I mean, I'm assuming girls are different, right? I think girls are more like kind of like an up and down, like kind of like if like maybe something bad kind of happened, but then something really good happened to like elevate it, then to them it's a good day, right? They kind of like function more on like kind of like a roller coaster, at least from my experience, right? But in terms of guys, right, I think the general consensus is that a good day to us is when nothing out of left field occurs. Everything goes smoothly and according to plan. That is the standard textbook good day for guys, right? And obviously exciting events that could lead to a great day or like a fantastic day. But if we want to ask what a good day looks like to a guy, it's him being able to go around, do his thing, come back with 0 issues. That's a good day to a guy. And the fact of the matter is, for me, what gets on my nerves is not, because there's a lot of guys in that thing where it's like one bad thing trips them up, ruins their whole day. I'm a firm believer of that is awful. Don't live that lifestyle at all, right? But it's a thing where, me personally, when a day gets on my nerves or when I'm getting aggravated by a day, it's because there are just little things that add up during the day. Okay, little things, little by little, that just piss me off a little bit more and more, right? It's that the TAs are rushing me to talk, the TAs are doing stuff for me, the TAs are freaking doing things by themselves when they're not teaching me how to actually do it. Like, isn't that your job? The teachers are blocking my board. The teachers are giving stuff on the quiz that isn't even on there. They're like, that they haven't even teach. The teachers are they're not putting the notes up ahead of time so that I can prime. They're deleting the notes so that way I can't even look at them afterwards. It's just bad thing after bad thing. That's what gets on my nerves. It's not this, okay? This is the thing. And you're gonna understand the title a little bit more. There's multiple implications of this title, but it doesn't take it on a scale of 1 to 10, right? It doesn't normally take a bad event, a 10 out of 10 bad event, to ruin my day, right? It doesn't take one event. It takes 10 events that add up to 10 and make it a bad day. And that's exactly what happened. It's like little raindrops versus just like a downpour, right? I don't know. Sorry, I know this is like not a productive one, but I just need to vent about it, because what really makes me mad about it is that the only thing I did, like I said, was get a good night of sleep. That's really the only thing I constantly said. It didn't help that when I came home later in the day, I had 2 lab reports to finish. One of them I at least got done, but then the other one was definitely not my best work in the slightest, and that's not happening again. It's not. So this is just, what makes me mad about this specifically is just how much it reminds me of my old self, and how much I want to break away from this self of me, because I don't like it. I don't like the one that ignores God. I don't like the one that skips the gym almost every day. I don't like the one that doesn't get involved with his community with internships and research. I don't like the one that doesn't work or keep his promises. I don't like the version of me that isn't taking time to do personal things. I don't like the version of me that is bound to a cycle of school and sleep. I don't like it, and I don't want it, and I want to change it. My gosh. Bro. Freaking, oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. There's nothing else. There's just not another string of words other than oh my gosh to explain this day. I mean, seriously. I mean, like, what do I even talk about? I don't even know what to talk about. Dude. I mean, seriously. Oh yeah, another thing. I got to the parking garage today that I reserved a parking spot for. I was literally the last car in the parking garage, and like a few minutes after that, maybe like, no, not even a few minutes, like literally a minute to like 30 seconds after I pulled into the spot, there was like someone who like literally came up behind. And so it was a thing of, if we didn't get there just like a few minutes like earlier, then we wouldn't have had a parking spot. And I mean, the day would have been even worse than it already is. But we have lessons, okay? And that is one thing, okay? My dad always has this saying, okay? He has a bunch of sayings. He's a man of many sayings. But one of his most frequent sayings is the fact that the most beautiful thing about life is that God gave us day and night. And I feel like that's extremely applicable to me right now. Because the thing about that is, at least if there's anything good about this 1 out of 10 day, it's the fact that I can go to sleep, wake up, and start a completely new day. Yes, sure, some of the repercussions of my actions, and also some things that I couldn't control, they're still going to transfer on. That's not going to change that, but at least we don't have to go through this again. We can wake up tomorrow and choose not to experience all of this. That is the pro, and that is my first lesson, okay? Bad days exist so that good days can shine. Look at your bad days and realize that if you continue what you did along that bad day, that you will keep having bad days. You will, okay? The second thing, okay, is going to be, I'm going to fall back on that lesson, but it is important though, okay? You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, right? In things, don't learn just to understand how to get by. Learn so that way you can do that and anything in the future. It's almost like if you want to cut off a tree, right? If you want to cut a tree down, right? Let's say you're like a lumberjack. You have like an axe, you're in your backyard, maybe backyard depending on which country you live in. You're out in the wild, right? You're out in the forest, and you want to get this like massive tree down, right? Like it's like this thick, and it goes like to the freaking sky, and it goes like really, really freaking high, right? And so the thing is that if you want to chop the tree down, you're not going to chop the branches off, right? If you go and chop the branches off, well, great, that's going to prevent the tree from growing out the sides, but it's not going to actually do anything towards your goal. You want to address the root problem. You want to address the root thing that's going to topple the whole tree over, right? Think of it as like paying loans, right? It's like a thing where, yeah, sure, like you may be able to like have a loan of like, let's say like 10K, right? That's a pretty hefty loan. I don't know what you're doing that for. Maybe you're paying for college, right? You have a loan of 10K, okay? And so basically you need to pay back the 10K and then some, right? Let's say like inflation is crazy. You gotta pay 1K back, right? Yes, obviously, at some point to survive, you're gonna have to pay out the 10K. But if you wanna address the root problem, try and get 11K so that way this doesn't grow any larger than it has to be, right? If you're having problems in your life, find the root problem and cut it off. That's number 2. And finally, number 3, God gave us day and night. If you ever have a bad day, know that you will wake up and that you have the opportunity to make a better day. You do. Not everything is going to be in your control. Not all the lecture notes are going to be posted. Not everything is going to go your way. And you can never guarantee that. You really never can. But at the end of the day, you control what you can. And in the words of the Boondocks quote, there was a great Boondocks quote. A little kid was talking to his grandpa, I believe it was either his grandpa or his dad, about it. And the kid says, "Well, Granddad, what if I can't do nothing, but there's nothing you can do?" And the granddad says to him, "You do what you can. You do what you can." Because at the end of the day, that's really all you can do. I mean, like, there are a lot of things that are in your control and some things that aren't. And you gotta learn to let go when necessary. You gotta give it up to God, which is why we gotta make up this debt counter. I'm gonna stop it before I ramble on any longer. Thank you guys so much for watching. I apologize if this brought your mood down, but I do love you guys very much, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. Cut.